Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee to order. At the record reflect, it's 4:31, and that's Council Member Carter and Jackson are present, and Nagulu is excused. All right. Looking for a motion on the minutes.
To approve the November 13th minutes.
Any conversation? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Public comment, I'm looking around and I don't see anybody that's from the public. So we'll just hold that open in case people come. Presentations, item 5B, DEI Advisory Board members. Michael, hi.
Hello.
Thank you for coming. Are you expecting anybody?
He said he was not able to get into the link that was provided, the one I got from online.
Okay. And
Jack, can you see anybody trying to get in?
I said it was right off that, there was a form.
Yeah, it's on our website.
It's on the, I took it right off of the agenda page.
Yep.
And ma'am, I'm sorry, can you state your name and?
My name is Emily Sorochi. I'm the chair for the DEI Advisory Board.
All right, thank you for refreshing my memory.
That's me, is that, so it's like?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, let me tell him to go ahead.
So while we're getting the people that's showing up remotely figured out, I guess for today, you know, it doesn't have to be anything super serious and we only actually have a certain amount of time to talk about things, but really was looking for kind of just like an update, but specifically like how is, since we have members now, I guess, how is the agenda coming along? How are the topics? Is the administration or the city receiving or giving anything for the advisory board to do? Is it proactive? Is it reactive? Because I recall when the advisory board was established through the administration, it was kind of to be like a group of people to help with these issues when they come up. And, you know, we kind of talked about how are we going to identify these issues? How is it going to come to fruition? Is it going to be advisory in nature, which we know it is? Any kind of update or presentation, we appreciate it. And I see there's a few people here, Ms. Coleman, Mr. Hobson, and I'm sorry, one more time.
Emily.
Emily.
Oh, and these are the questions that they got from Emily, for Emily.
So I guess I could just, can I just toss it up and just open it up for
Yes.
anybody?
Yes, so the committee has been together since April 25th of 2022, so we've had some time together. Since its establishment, we've played a role in advancing community, celebrating diversity, and building relationships with not only the board members, but the community at large. The core functions, just as a reminder, the board holds monthly meetings the first Tuesday of the month from 5:30 to 6:30 here in the 7th floor to perform 8 core functions. We advise the DEI staff on operationalization, implementation, and maintenance of the MRJEA plan, review newly introduced city ordinances and ordinance amendments, collaborate with DEI staff and external partners. We provide advisory to DEI issues within the city of Lansing, encourage community engagement amongst the members in the MRJEA plan, and serve as a liaison between the community and City Hall. We had a board retreat where we took the MRJEA plan and talked about how we can fit all of it into themes. So we had 3 themes that we organized. First one was justice and safety, and they proposed conducting a community survey to examine the city services based on current community. Committee is economic empowerment. We researched and recommended to put together a BIPOC small business toolkit and to train new business owners in the city. So the next piece that we organized was community sustainability, and that was forming a community roundtable in partnership with Resolution Services to address key focus areas during community conversations. So that was what we developed at our board retreat. We worked in partnership with the advocacy group, and they provided multiple sessions to help us figure out kind of identified our bylaws as well. So last year, 4 new members have joined to help continue its growth and functionality and developing processes to improve ordinance evaluation as well. So just to highlight a few things that we have begun doing, I like to view our work as proactive and trying to figure out how we can best do our mission and help the city move forward. So the DEI committee held 2 separate special meetings to do Ordinance 297, which is the human rights ordinance. So we reviewed that pretty intently to see the language, terminology, and if the applications are current, equitable, and appropriate, because everybody brings a different lens to the table. So it was important to hear a lot of those different perspectives. So we compiled the recommendations and approved those, and the HRCS will forward them to the mayor's office for further review and consideration. And we have just some celebrations that we've participated in and helped connect resources to. The 4th annual celebration of diversity. We had the Pride flag raising on May 31st, the Juneteenth flag raising on June 19th, Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Observance, and the Native American Heritage Proclamation that was presented at City Council's meeting recently. So that's my update for you.
Thank you. That's a nice update. Yes.
Thank you, Emily, for that. You pretty much covered my only question. I wanted to know a little bit more about your initiatives and how they've been implemented, and then the focus on the community, and if there was any specific input that the community had received. So I guess my only follow-up question is, with your Justice and Safety Community Survey, have you received any additional input regarding that, and how has that looked from the residents?
We've started that process of figuring out what the components of the survey will be. Unfortunately, we had a turnover with her membership to the DEI board committee. So coming up in our next meeting, I've tasked the members to review the MRJEA report and figure out which committee they would like to be on so that work can continue. So that was kind of the challenge, and we're moving through that currently to finish that work.
And then the BIPOC toolkit and training, how has that been going? Has that already been a success, or?
Yeah, so that's actually the committee that I serve on for that post, and Florencio and we combed a lot of the research on different websites across the city and had various conversations with small business owners, and that's where that idea was originated from. We submitted it. There's a process. A lot of these things had a little bit of time because processes were being created to vet the ideas to ensure that there's not duplication. So that's where it's at. It's currently being researched to know if there's one that currently exists within the city, or if something has been started. So it gives us something to work with, so we're not duplicating efforts. Maybe we can enhance, or maybe create more accessibility, because sometimes the city's website can be a bit much to handle. And so, finding ways that we can connect and give those services and to the community where it belongs.
Just a quick area of questions. So EDI is just like inherently kind of, not really defined very well, inherently just kind of like vague, I think. It just seems like that sometimes, because you can almost make an argument for so many things that could fit under one of those categories. So I guess with that, is there any specific topic areas within like the community collaboration, within, I know you said the ordinance, you guys looked up are reviewing the human rights ordinance, so that's like kind of specific. thing, and I know there's specific celebrations, but like liaison to the community, has there, those are just things that I heard listed, but is there anything that we can kind of just put like topics or just like what is discussed, if anything? And again, I don't mean to put you all on the spot because I know it is hard and you guys are still being formed. So I understand bylaws are first and there's like an order, but is there any kind of topic areas?
Well, in our last meeting, if I'm understanding the question, we were talking about what ordinance do we want to combat next, and we were getting kind of a lesson on, is that it starts with an M?
Municipal law.
Municipal law. So, and we were just tasking ourselves with what is the community engaged on? What are some policies that are more like bumps in the road where people get extremely discouraged and just disconnect, period. So I've tasked the group with looking at the policies that are currently here in the City of Lansing's website to figure out which ones do we want to look at next, which ones are residents talking about, and maybe if it's a problem that they're experiencing, and if it's a subset of folks, maybe that is something that's tied to a policy. So really, just starting there to use that as a guide map for our next ordinance review.
And with the human rights ordinance, I don't know if you're aware, but for however long it's been, there's only been a very small number, and I think it's like less than 5 as far as I know. It's really small, and I don't know the exact. I think I've heard a few different things from like 1 to a couple to. Did you guys look at why there are so few deals or?
We have not talked about, I was unaware of how many folks have submitted a human rights ordinance violation. And I think we received some promotional information, and I think they're, in my opinion, not at the board, but I think, having more of a communications plan on what that is, what that means to the community is something else that maybe that's something the DEI board could explore in figuring out what is the issue? How come we're not getting more complaints? I hear things through the grapevine, through the city, through folks in the community that are injustices. So I just question if people know as an assumption, but yeah, that's something we can talk about.
Thanks. Just always, I mean, it sounds like it's such a valuable ordinance and allows citizens an avenue to fight against injustices, but it just doesn't happen much. So wherever the disconnect is, if it can be connected and everything's like a fine oiled machine, I think that's the vision of the ordinance. But excellent work for that. So thank you. Any other questions or anything?
Maybe it's also just to tackle you were saying, maybe it's the communication and educating aspect of it. So I don't know if that could be infused into, I know Ms. Coleman, she was able to share earlier on in the year, the process of human ordinance and what that communication process would look like, but maybe adding that into your community surveys could be ideal, just to kind of get it out there. Even also adding it into your toolbox or toolkit, or just that communication overall could be a helpful tool, perhaps. Thank you for bringing that up.
I guess my last comment, I think it's my last, is the proactive versus retroactive nature. You said that you think it's proactive and want it to be proactive. And yet the tasks that I've heard are to like look through things that are existing. If, as you guys continue to develop, if there's a way to get like, from the administration, like when we get things on the agenda, we see things that's going to be referred to a certain committee, but like we see it ahead of time, it's usually from the administration, and it's like weekly or bi-weekly, it's like 10 or 20 different things. if there was a way that the committee could have eyes on that too, to see, because then you guys can also be in like the front part of the process of something either becoming a resolution or something becoming a ordinance, et cetera. Because other than that, I don't know if anybody is just going to willfully think to include the advisory board, even though it should be that way, but it's just how quick things sometimes move. If there's a way you guys could try to fuse in the early alert so that there's something that pops up, it can be discussed on the front end. That's all I have. Anybody at all in the table want to add something?
I think Byron's on now.
Byron, are you there? Or he was.
I am here if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Byron. We were, I don't know how much of what you heard, but we basically had a quick presentation, had some questions answered, and if you want to add anything from what you heard or just how you think the advisory board's work is going, now would be a good time.
I don't have anything to add to what Emily had to say. We are forming and looking at the tasks that we have ahead of us, and I do agree that the more information we have about what's coming along can help us be in front of some things and be a little bit more proactive moving ahead next year. I'm just looking forward to serving.
Well, thank you for joining remotely. I'm glad that people are taking advantage of this access. And is there anybody else that has anything for the good of this topic? Seeing nobody, thank you for coming, DEI Advisory Board members and Ms. Coleman, thank you.
I don't see her up there.
We have one more topic. It's a resolution for appointment for Cheryl Bernard, third ward member of EDI Board, Advisory Board. Cheryl, are you anywhere online? Okay, so with that, I know that she had,
She was gonna be late, but then she was sick today, so then she was gonna call in. I
so
spoke to her earlier today, but.
it's not the biggest thing to have her come back another time or next year or whatever happens.
I mean, your meetings, it would be for that advisory board and they're done for the year too, so.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to just
Right.
appointment.
Or having a conversation.
And, you know, we're missing a member here too, and somebody could have some questions.
Yeah.
So we will put that on hold.
Okay.
And if you have anything for the good of the committee?
Nothing at all. I will say that the advisory board did share the 45th annual memorial observance of Dr. Martin Luther King, January 16th, 2025, 12 to 1, and the Tony Benavides City Council Chambers, 10th floor, reception to follow. So just want to make that public for those who are watching.
Thank you for that. And seeing no further business, we are adjourned.
Thank you.